with group number one. Oh, it's almost ready. It's spinning. Still spinning.
I see a
I was gonna say I see a recording signal.
I did too.
It's recording now. So thank you, everyone. Group one, we're just getting ready to do our first breakout group here, and we're talking about mission. And so we are looking for somebody who will be the recorder. I heard there was a volunteer with Christy to be our recorder.
Unless someone really wants to, but I'm happy to do it.
You did such a good job before, Chris.
I don't know about that, but
so if you you all can see the document, so you know what we're talking about. It's in the other document that we were using where our names were in the link. So those are there. And I'm also going to put right now into our chat box access for you. I pulled up the notes from last time about mission. So from our group, because I thought maybe we'd want to review those again, because we did have some suggestions from our last time working, and I just personally thought we didn't need to have to start over. And so those might be a good working space. So again, our task for the next, whatever it is, until 7:15, is for us to think about big ideas or big words or big ideas that we want to have. So we're not wordsmithing every verb and where the comma's going or any of those kind of things. We're just looking for big ideas, themes, important words that we want to include. It can be the strong verbs that we talked about. It could be the concepts, all those kind of things. So that's kind of my role, was just to get everyone started. So obviously, Christy, you know you're in the mission document. And then everybody has the ability to open it, because I think that top part was was helpful for everyone to remember the characteristics of a good mission statement. And then we have a place for the notes. Okay, making sense to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, now the floor is open, so let's start talking about it.
Can I ask a quick clarification, Paul? Do you want me, so in this outputs document that we need to submit, do you want me to, it's harder, I think, for people to see and collaborate in that document because it's a form.
Right.
So are you saying that you want me to take notes in the, maybe in the Google Doc?
Is that
just
okay
so we can all
for
see it?
everybody?
And then I can just copy and paste it over to the form when we're ready, because otherwise, like, you can all be in this form and watch what I do and refer to it, versus if we're in the form, I don't think you can see it until I submit it.
Right. Thank you.
So,
I was thinking that.
yeah, I'll just do it in this document, and then we also will submit the form, but we'll still have it all in this Google Doc too.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be quiet now.
No, it's your turn.
So, Mr. Bypond, we did hit record, and so I don't know if you needed to do anything else with us or for us. So, Christy, I think that makes perfect sense, so that we can just kind of play with it before we get it final into that other document.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where do you think we want to start?
What if we start with learning? So we talked about getting loftier in the appreciation for learning. And we talked about maybe lifelong learning. Maybe that's one of our big thoughts, is what we do with learning and how we make that loftier.
I agree. I like lifelong learners.
I like that. I feel like that's overused. Is there a different way to say it? Or right now we're not worried about that so much as the big ideas?
So
if
Jen,
I
I
might
appreciate
suggest, you may want to just brainstorm and just put down some ideas and then look at maybe word crafting them later on. You know, I think conceptually, lifelong learner is a great concept to strive for. But how exactly do you want to say that? I agree, Jana. It is a comment that from time to time can be overused. Is there a better way of saying that? That'll be a question for another time,
Down the road.
potentially.
So Jana, when I personally think of other, terms that are like that, I have seen schools say things like 21st century learners, 21st century citizens, all of those kind of things as well. Kind of fits, it has a different nuance, but it, just another thought. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for it, just giving
Yeah.
us more ideas.
Yeah.
Other ones about about learning. Obviously, learning is really important.
I think when I think of lifelong learners, I'm just throwing out words, word association things. It's like, it's about curiosity and logical thinking. I'm just throwing out words.
Put them out there.
That's all I'm
If
doing
I
right
can
now.
encourage that.
I love
I can encourage that,
curiosity.
sure.
That's a great
I agree.
word, and that's what drives learning, right? And it drives so many other things as well, just in terms of emotional intelligence and empathy and all kinds of things. So I love it.
Yeah,
A lot of
empathy
words
is
we use with our kiddos is exploration with the curiosity.
Mhm.
And then it turns into critical thinking or analytical,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and all that too.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of trying to find a starting point, an inspirational starting point. This, going back to we are just the beginning, and which is why I think we stick with that lifelong learners. Like we are only getting these souls for 8 years, 9 years. How are we going to make sure that they're ready for the rest? And I think that curiosity, that spark that starts it, needs to be in there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Jasenia. Welcome to our group. Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm not on mute. It's clearly my family is having a discussion.
I was going to say, I hear some conversation coming somewhere.
My son's trying to figure out how he can stretch his allowance to buy anything he wants, and I don't think it's going well.
When he figures that out, share that with us. So. Hi,
like
Jasenia. We're glad that you're here.
Hi.
We'll do fast introductions because I don't think you know who, and maybe you know everybody in the group but me. I'm Paul Lewis. I serve as the assistant superintendent. Next to me on the screen is Irina Braun. You can wave or say hi or something. She's a parent in the district also, but also a staff member at Park. Jana Donahue is the next person on my screen. She works in our early childhood center as the program director. Christy Braden is the next person on my screen. Christy is a parent in the district, also serves as a board member. Tina Baldwin is a parent also in the district, but also serves as an art teacher at Park. And Tanya Kent is one of our parents, and I apologize, I don't remember what school the kids go to.
Meadowview and Frederick.
And then Gary is with us as part of the group. He's one of our facilitators. So that brings us to you, Jasenia.
I have two kids, one at Woodview and one at Frederick.
We're so glad that you're here tonight.
Yeah.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Jasenia, I just put in the chat box a link to the document where we're just taking some notes tonight. at the moment. So it's a little bit different than the one that Gary shared, because we felt like we needed to have a little bit of workspace too. So
Okay.
Gary, we love what you did, but we wanted to be able to wordsmith a little bit before we submitted anything. Is I think the direction of the crowd.
Practicality.
And Mr. Vipond,
that's great.
Mr. Vipond is here with us and may be gone already. He's the one who's taking sure that we're recording properly and getting us on track here. So we've been talking about some words about the mission statement. So we've been talking about lifelong learners. If you are able to open the document, we're way at the bottom so far. Group, did we want to go on to another big topic, or we've talked about lifelong learning. Are there other phrases or words or concepts that we want to add, to move on to?
I think the equity and inclusion.
That's what I was just going to ask, if like academically inclusive would be part of this or the next that we might talk about.
I think it's separate. I think it can really stand alone as its own thing, definitely.
I agree.
So the whole idea about equity and inclusion, that's a really big umbrella, which most of you know is really important to me from our conversation last week, and to all of us. I was not suggesting that I was the only one, but it's welcoming. It means all. It means everyone seeing themselves in our district, or all of those kind of terms as part of equity and inclusion. Is some of the big terms I think about.
Sure. And Paul, if I could just interject at this point, again, you're raising some great words and some great things to consider. Part of the challenge is that we're going to be working on, in addition to the mission, also your values as a district, and then also your vision. So some of these can also be included there, but I realize that, you've got all these different ideas. We don't want to stifle that at all. We want these ideas to come out. And even if we don't use it in the mission, maybe we would use it in the values and or in the vision at some point. So keep sharing the terms that you'd like to see included at some point. Eventually, all three of these are going to mesh together to make a beautiful representation of who District 46 is. Okay.
Right.
So, on that note, I'm going to excuse myself. Keep the conversation going. Thank you.
Chris, I added a link in the chat in the document. We're keeping track of our notes before we submit, just in case you wanted to follow along there a little bit.
Thank you.
So again, I think that's helpful. What Gary just said is we have to try and remember that I was just going back to what the idea is. Short, potentially short and memorable. People can learn it, recite it, and believe in it. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do. So we have to, I think that's why he's only talking about some key words potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do think though, even in our current mission statement, we sort of have that, all caps, all students. And I do think, there might be a way to make the mission statement feel inclusive without, in that sort of way. I do think the word all, or just, a nod to all means all would still fit, but I don't know what else we could say besides all. And I don't have a brilliant verb or word.
I think my thought is probably more of that goals that come from the mission statement. Because at the Early Childhood Center, the majority of our kiddos have IEPs. And so one of my goals for the Early Childhood Center would be to be all-inclusive, blend in all of our, not have self-contained. But I think now that I'm hearing Gary and what he's saying, that's probably something that's driven by the,
At a different level, I think I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
Because when I think about the mission, it's really the big umbrella statement or the big...
Yeah, it's the driver, right, of everything else, kind of.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to file that away.
Well, we have our notes here too, so we can keep coming back to this if we need to remember some of those things too.
Yeah, I'll capture it somewhere for you, Jana. No problem.
Okay.
We have an excellent recorder. Just so I think someplace the words inclusive or everybody or everyone instead of all. I think because even in the current one it says for all students, and I think in our last time we met we also mean all staff and all parents and all.
Yeah, members of.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the community last time.
Mm-hmm.
So is it that we are a community?
Mm-hmm. I feel it's important to have that partnership though, school, families, and community.
Mm-hmm.
We need everyone to succeed.
So maybe I like that word partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great.
I think we did a good job. Now I'm looking back at our notes from last time.
Yeah.
I think we did a really good job last time with being exceptional, building exceptional.
Mm-hmm. Well, that might be a bucket, just this idea of like differentiation, being exceptional needs to show up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like we wrote down, right? What did being exceptional and building exceptional. Yeah, okay. I'll make sure that gets captured down here as a potential way to express that.
That reminds me of a book from the 90s called The Exceptional Child. And kids that had special needs, whether it was needing extra support to succeed or like even gifted, it's just always any along the spectrum.
Yeah.
We liked that.
When I keep thinking of other words, I also think about something like continuously growing and learning, continuously
perpetual. Kind of.
Potential is one of those trigger words for me, not necessarily in a good way, depending on how it's used. So, and I support that, but we have to think about what words go around it.
I think she said perpetual.
Oh, I thought you said potential.
Is that right, Jana? Sorry.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. That's okay. Paul, you've been in a lot of meetings today, I'm sure. So, yeah, trying to think of, perpetual. I was thinking perennial, but that's flowers.
That goes with growth and.
I like that. Couldn't we make them perennial? Cool.
Mr. Vipond, anything that you'd like to add? You're being quiet. I'm supposed to draw out people who haven't shown.
Thanks,
No
Paul.
pressure.
Right. I'm good for now. I'll let you know when I have something to add.
I'm going to use my thesaurus for everybody.
Paul, do you have access to the library one? I really liked that one. It was just so captured so much. I was going to go back to it for inspiration, but it was on his slide deck, wasn't it?
Which I don't have access to that slide deck currently, but it could be somewhere.
Maybe Dr. Google can tell us.
I mean, I was going to say, I do have the Grayslake Library bookmarked, if it'll come up fast enough. If they have it on their main page.
So Paul, some
It's
historic words for
connecting.
US was forever and ever.
Their mission statement is connecting community, enriching lives, inspiring ideas.
Okay.
I like inspiring.
I just like the way that it's just those, pithy three things. We might have three different things,
Yeah, very to the point.
Mhm.
Some of me, some of what I'm thinking about is because this can be really big. So like a place to change the world, or
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Something along the lines of like community leaders, or some
Yeah.
leadership aspect. But I think that goes along with changing the world. Not like
Or maybe like leading the way.
yeah, something like that.
So I'm conscious of time. So we have about 18 minutes, and so we have to
Gotta
come
get there,
up with the words that we want to put into that document, so that we're sharing some ideas. And I'm not envying the group. The goal is, I think they might be looking for volunteers. The goal might be then to look at everyone's big ideas, and then outside another small group, try to put it together. Because right now, in order to get consensus about what verb we should use and the punctuation needed, and I'm not belittling those things, but it is strenuous.
So we do have 5 buckets right now. We've got, the making learning loftier. We've got the idea of continuous or perpetual growth. We've got the idea of, growing leaders, changing the world, leading the way. We've got the idea of partnership, and we've got the idea of being exceptional. So we do have 5 chunks that we could say, well, what is the verbiage from each of those that we want to offer.
The recorder does a really nice job of clustering our ideas. So thank you.
We have that many. Good job, Christy.
What keeps coming up, especially after we started talking about leaders, is this idea of, I can't quite get my arms around it because it's late. I'm tired, but this idea of like leaders, like the first step on a leader's journey, or we're the first, combining the idea of like the spark that starts the journey that builds a world changer or a leader or community leader or something. I just really love that.
Yeah.
Because it's got some outcome in there as well.
It's pointing you towards the kids taking ownership of their learning, the intrinsic motivation too.
Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna put that under the leaders piece.
I was thinking about how to say some of those things. So leaders within and beyond. Something.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that word you said, Christy, journey.
Mm-hmm.
There's not an end point. And that kind of goes along with that lifelong learning. So they're kind of starting their journey with us, and we're preparing them for their next journey when they leave us.
Yeah.
Was that a learning and leadership journey?
Yeah, thanks. That.
I'm just keep rattling.
Yeah. It's almost like the spark or the first step of the journey toward the journey of learning and leadership or something like that,
And I really like that the learning and leadership journey can apply to all staff and students and community partners.
Yeah.
That isn't just exclusive of, students. Like, we can all continue on our learning and leadership journey.
Yeah, maybe throw that word together in, or
And that'll hit our inclusivity, our
Yeah.
inclusive together. Yep. I like that word for all, kind of getting in that all.
Together, we are on a learning and leadership journey. That's really cool. All right, I'm gonna go back to this document and see what we actually have to do. Okay. 5 short, big thoughts, 10 words or less. Okay. As you're looking at the notes I took, why don't I at this point copy and paste all of our notes? Like just this part down to the exceptional piece. I'll copy and paste those into the first part, which is just they want our raw notes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does show up here. Okay. If you are looking at the form, maybe you're able to see my stuff. But then let's get to that. Like, is there and I think we have quite a few of these, is that a big thought that we just captured? Just the together we are on a learning and leadership journey. Is that like maybe one of our 5?
It does say at least 5. So we could have more than 5. Point that out.
Yeah, there you go. We can have more than 5. Do we like that one as one of the 5? Or would you wordsmith it a little bit, or?
I don't think we have to. But...
Yeah, I don't think we have to wordsmith anything. Yeah.
All right, let's jump it in. There's 1. Okay, what
Chrissy,
else?
just so you know, I think you opened the form for you, and so that's only showing for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So why don't I do this? Why don't I also highlight, or like I'll just put them down here then, like our big ideas for the form. There's 1. Okay. Who's next?
I still like the changing the world, leading the way.
Okay, great.
I don't know if anybody else.
Well, I like leading the way as our what is going to set D46 apart, kind of hitting that. I think that hits that.
Okay.
I know we don't like the phrase lifelong learners, but I still like the concept.
Yeah, oh, for sure, the concept, yeah. Maybe we can still use that. I don't think it's still a big idea, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. I think it's one of those things that's still around because it's good.
I see it everywhere.
So do we think that we've hit the equity and inclusion in these? Or is that yet?
I think maybe the partnership statement, we need everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have together, that would be inclusive.
Yeah. But I like this, like whatever the end product is should reflect this idea of everyone. We need everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I could have copied and pasted that, but
yeah.
Roll.
I think I would put in your parentheses community.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. If we
Anybody else
captured
who has-
the curiosity piece, like the exploration, have we gotten that in here yet? Is that captured in lifelong learning, or do we want to call that out?
I think it's part of it, but we could probably include it there too.
I like using the words because maybe
Yeah.
that will
Yeah.
lead to something else. Maybe not even those words, but it might lead to something else that captures it.
Yeah. How would I say?
Again,
Building,
as Gary said,
developing.
that may come out as one of our other statements about our values, or but
Yeah.
it's all good. I'm not.
Good
That
point.
makes it up in our vision or something.
Right.
Yeah. Great.
Maybe we should read the suggestions about the mission statement again, way up at the top of this document.
Why do we exist?
That why do we exist? I'm a firm believer that we're needing to help create informed citizens. I mean, that's a bigger thing as a loftier goal, but it certainly starts with our youngest kids understanding that we all have a role, we have a part, and those are my beliefs, but I think that's a school belief too, that we have to help kids understand about how to make decisions and how to collaborate and how to work together and all of those kind of things. And so
I would say even like overline that, Paul, is just when I think of like the littlest ones, I just think of making the world a better place.
Mm.
You know, and then it's through all of those things. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
at least making it better than it was.
Right.
I mean, that's one of those phrases, right? Leave it wherever you walk, leave it a better than it was when you got there. It's more eloquently said. Okay, we're down to 6 minutes, so just.
What's also on my mind is like the concept of the whole child. So the other piece of the exploration, critical, good citizen, all of that is also like, you know, we've talked so much about social emotional learning, especially during the pandemic. And, you know, we sort of carry, you know, there's also, I feel like a well-being part of the student, you know, or the whole child or the whole student. You know, it's like all students and their whole selves that we're you know, that we're caring for and launching out into the world.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that at our age, you know, with the little ones, of being socially inclusive and coming to school and feeling safe.
And being part of a community. I remember my son, and even in kindergarten, first grade, they talked about we're a community and what does that mean? And yeah.
I was thinking about that in the very first one you wrote together. You know, together as our community.
Yeah.
We are on a learning and leading journey.
Yeah, and that again, I love that can mean more than just students, can mean everyone in the community. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got the feels from that first statement.
Dang, we're good.
Yes.
So are we comfortable with those kind of being our 5, you know, conceptual ideas of things we like, you know, and it's not going to necessarily be up to group number 1 here to make the final decisions, but I think those are pretty strong suggestions to combine with all the other work the groups are doing.
Yes.
Last call for all voices before I copy and paste this. All right. It's going in. Who's our spokesperson?
Well, if we need one, yeah, thank you. I got some practice. I can keep getting some more. That's good. I don't think we need one this time, but
Oh yeah, I think we do have to share our 5, right? Or no?
we do have to share out loud. Okay.
Yeah, I think they said each group was just going to share their top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have to add the 5 to the sheet document as well?
I've got that in too, and I'm getting ready to press send. So, any further thoughts before I do?
Mr.
Are we good?
Vipon, did we need to put those? I got confused now
Two
about
spots?
Yeah, it sounded like the spreadsheet was an additional step in addition to the form.
I feel like that'll be what then we can look
Oh,
at and because there's different tabs along the
I
bottom.
don't think they realized that forms automatically generates a spreadsheet. Is that what got missed?
oh, so we submit the form and then we also put it in the master mission spreadsheet. Is that what?
So I have that open if you want me to, unless you have that ready to go. I
I've
have
got the
that.
form ready. Why don't I press send on the form? And then do you want to grab them and put them in the spreadsheet, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
This master suggestion sheet that I think will be easier to read because when I print out the spreadsheets I get from Google Forms, it's like this big. It's really hard to read. At least for me.
You do have to do some work with it for sure.
Yeah.
oh, I see. They have we have like a line for each in the spreadsheet. Got it. Cool.
Okay, did I do okay with that one? I don't know if you're there.
Yeah, it looks good.
Look at this group is very, very efficient. So thank you, group. And we have a minute to spare before we go back. So Mr. Vipon, am I doing something with stopping the recording?
Yes, please.
You're a man of few words, Chris Vipon.